Hey everyone and welcome back to the channel. First things first, what is P0117? The official definition is engine coolant temperature sensor circuit low input. In simple terms, your engine's computer or ECU is seeing a voltage from the coolant temperature sensor that's lower than it should be. This is a problem because the ECU relies on this sensor to know how hot or cold the engine is. Based on that temperature reading, it adjusts things like the air-fuel mixture and ignition timing to keep the engine running smoothly and efficiently. When the ECU gets a signal that's too low, it often interprets it as the engine being extremely cold, even if it's been running for a while. This can lead to a few noticeable symptoms. The most common one is that your engine will run rich. This means the ECU is injecting too much fuel because it thinks the engine needs to warm up. You might notice black smoke from the exhaust, smell unburnt fuel, or see your fuel economy take a nosedive. Another symptom is a loss of power. To protect itself from what it thinks is an abnormal condition, the ECU might put the engine into a limp mode or guardian mode, which severely limits your RPM and speed. You might also find your engine is hard to start, especially when it's already warm. So, what causes this P0117 code? There are a few key culprits, and we'll go through them from most likely to least likely. The number one cause, especially in a marine environment, is wiring and connector issues. Salt water, moisture, and constant vibration are the enemies of electrical connections. Over time, the wiring going to the temperature sensor can get frayed, broken, or shorted to ground. The connector itself can also become corroded. Those little green or white fuzzy bits you see on electrical pins, that's corrosion, and it's a major barrier to a good electrical signal. This leads us to our first diagnostic step, a thorough visual inspection. Start by locating the engine coolant temperature sensor. Its location will vary depending on your specific jet ski or outboard model, so consult your service manual if you're not sure. It's usually screwed into the cylinder head or the engine block. Somewhere it can directly measure coolant temperature. Once you've found it, carefully inspect the wiring harness leading to the sensor. Look for any visible signs of damaged cracks in the insulation, exposed copper wires, or any sharp bends that could cause an internal break. Pay close attention to the connector itself. Disconnect it and look inside both the male and female ends. Are the pins clean and shiny, or are they corroded and dull? If you see any corrosion, that's your prime suspect. If the visual inspection looks good, the next step is to check the sensor's grounding. A bad ground can cause all sorts of strange electrical issues, including a low voltage signal. The sensor typically has a signal wire and a ground wire. ULL need a multimeter to check for continuity between the sensor's ground pin and a known good ground point on the engine block or chassis. A good connection should show very little resistance, close to 0 AO. If you get a high resistance reading or no reading at all, you've found a grounding problem that needs to be fixed. Now, if the wiring and grounding are all in order, it's time to suspect the sensor itself has failed. Coolant temperature sensors are thermistors, which means their electrical resistance changes with temperature. We can test this with our multimeter set to measure resistance, or AOMs. First, disconnect the sensor. With the engine cold, measure the resistance across the sensors to pins. Then, start the engine and let it warm up. As the engine gets hotter, the resistance of the sensor should decrease smoothly. You can find the exact resistance specifications for your engine sensor in the service manual. If the resistance reading is out of spec, doesn't change with temperature, or shows an open circuit, the sensor is bad and needs to be replaced. Replacing the sensor is usually straightforward. Just make sure the engine is cool to avoid getting burned by hot coolant. Unscrew the old sensor and have the new one ready to go. A little bit of coolant might leak out, so be prepared to catch it. Screw the new sensor in, torque it to the manufacturer's specification, and reconnect the electrical connector. Always use a new sealing washer if one is required. After you've repaired the wiring, fix the ground, or replace the sensor. The final step is to clear the P0117 code from the ECU using a diagnostic tool. Then, take your jet ski or outboard for a test run to make sure the code doesn't come back and that the engine is running properly again. Your fuel economy should return to normal, and that frustrating power limitation should be gone. So, to recap, P0117 means a low voltage signal from your coolant temp sensor. Start by inspecting the wiring and connectors for damage and corrosion. Next, check the sensor's ground connection. If those are good, test the sensor's resistance to see if it's failed. By following these steps, you can confidently diagnose and fix this code and get back to enjoying your time on the water. Thanks for watching. I hope this guide was helpful. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. And if you liked this video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more marine engine repair tips. See you in the next one.